Self-trust, the secret to commanding any room. That is today's episode. You can be experienced, you can be prepared and even highly capable and still find yourself second guessing your decisions, replaying conversations, or looking to others for validation. Ask me how I know. In this episode, we are going to unpack what self-trust really is, why so many accomplished leaders struggle with it, and how it directly impacts your executive presence and influence. So you're going to learn practical shifts to strengthen self-trust so you show up with calm certainty, clear thinking, and the kind of authority that doesn't need to be performed, because we need to be authentic to come across in a way where that confidence really is exuded, and frankly, that we embody that confidence. And that's my wish for everybody, frankly. The themes go on and on here, as you will continue to see, that it really is about having that self-assuredness or self-trust in yourself that actually moves the needle, because self-trust exists before the outcome. Now, a lot of times people talk about the difference between self-trust and self-confidence. I think they're integrated. I shouldn't say I think. They are integrated, in my opinion, that is. Now, the shift really happens when you start taking action and then you see, oh, how that changed. And then I must admit, from my own experience, it's been a lot of different things. It's been action. It's been recording myself on video, watching that back. It's been therapy, personal growth work, leadership programs, getting feedback from other people. We have to do as much as we can to get to that place where we have the internal structure, as my friend Dr. John Townsend says, so that we have that embedded self-trust within. So let's take a look at, if we want to play around here for a moment with confidence versus self-trust. Confidence says, I'll feel good if this goes well. Self-trust says, I'll trust myself to handle whatever happens. Now, you could expand on that. You could argue and say, oh, there's a lot of other things. I mean, frankly, I could probably poke holes in anything, but that shift is really what changes how you speak, decide, and lead in really feeling that embodiment of self-trust. So I want to give you 5 practical ways to strengthen self-trust today. First one, make decisions without over collecting opinions. And boy, is this something that I used to do all the time. I was taught that I didn't trust my voice, or I was taught, let's just say, to look to authority or other people, that they all knew better than me. And I continue to see how many women do this. We still look for other people. So this is a self-trust leak when you are consistently seeking input, not for information a lot of the times, but for reassurance. Or we think we're looking at it for information, but we're actually looking for reassurance. So the way that you can tell if this is happening, asking multiple people the same question, again, been there, delaying decisions until everyone agrees, and then feeling relief only when someone validates your thinking. This is a tough one, and I will tell you that I have experienced myself the same thing. So pick your top advisors, maybe 2 to 3 people max, when you have big decisions to make, and then decide for yourself. Because at the end of the day, you know best what you need and want. And a way that you could do this is think about, like, if we're talking about language that you could model, is here's the direction I'm taking. So just saying it very straightforwardly, based on what I know, this is the next best step. And you could bring that up to your confidants if you would like to do that, or you could simply tell yourself that and go for it. I will tell you that I am making decisions a heck of a lot faster now than I was years ago. Oh my gosh, years ago, I used to ask everybody and their mother for opinions. So be mindful of that. Number 2, stop replaying conversations after they're over that go on in your head. Now, I definitely understand, as a high performer, we're going to mentally review meetings looking for mistakes after they're done, or what could I have done better? And it's good to reassess, but you don't want to pontificate to the point where it's draining your energy from other things. And when you're constantly looking for those mistakes, though, if you pontificate, if you second guess, replay those conversations, it trusts your brain to actually believe, I can't trust myself. in the moment. So replace the replay with one question. Did I speak honestly? Did I add value? No, that's technically two questions. I would say, did I add value? Not just did I, how did I add value? Because when you start positioning your brain to look for the positive, that's what it's going to find. So you want to make sure that you are looking for ways to celebrate. What did I do well in that meeting? And a model for you is, what are 3 things I did well? What is one area I could improve? Because you'll probably look for more areas to improve than the things you did well. Third, speak before you feel 100% ready. Too often we are waiting until things are perfect. And again, I used to do this too. Oh my gosh, the waiting, the thinking, okay, well, if I just get this exact detail right. And yet, let's put it this way. Nobody wants to connect with somebody who seems to be perfect. We're unrelatable when we come across as perfect. We don't seem like we're human. People can't, or we don't look at people that seem perfect as approachable. So think about language from this perspective. As someone with self-trust, it doesn't mean I speak when I'm certain. Self-trust is, so in other words, self-trust is not this, I speak when I'm certain. Self-trust is, I trust my thinking enough to put it in the room. I trust myself enough to speak up. I trust myself to know that if I do happen to say something that isn't ideal, I can rectify it. I can handle this. This is a great thing to practice. I can handle this. And practice by speaking. And the earlier you contribute, speaking first, excuse me. I always recommend that, making sure you speak first at a meeting, because the earlier you contribute, the fun thing is your brain actually learns this. I belong here. Ooh, I said something that people valued. Now, we do have to be careful. If we get a reaction or a response that isn't desirable, that is where we might allow our self-trust to erode a little bit in that moment. So I implore you, trust your opinions, trust what you have to say, because you have great value and what you have to offer has great value as well. Number 4, separate outcomes from self-worth. Too often, when things kind of like I was just sharing, when a presentation or a decision or perhaps a conversation doesn't go as planned, many leaders internalize it as, oh, I should have done better, it didn't land, I'm not good at this. But self-trust grows when you evaluate the process, not perfection. So instead, ask yourself, how much did I prepare? Did I prepare the way that I wanted to? Did I show up fully? And did I communicate clearly? So either way, regardless of the outcome, your self-trust should increase. And I tell you, I know that this is hard. It doesn't come overnight. This is where taking action, experimenting, seeing how things land. And then, boy, I don't know about you, but I have such a great admiration for people that are so strong in their convictions when they so believe something and they speak out about it. I remember years ago when I worked in the corporate setting, I had such a hard time speaking up in our executive team meetings because, again, going back to my upbringing, I was taught that, oh, most people know better than me. So usually people that I would see as more authoritative or more titled and even older know better than me. And that's what I thought was all of the above in a lot of these meetings. So I would hesitate to speak up. And yet over time, it was so evident that, my opinion is just as good as anybody else. But it's amazing how your past can so define how you show up in your present. This is why I am such an advocate for personal growth through leadership development, coaches, therapists, anything that you can do to dig into why you operate the way you do can be so enlightening to help you. By the way, all the things that I'm talking about here are things that I do in my executive group, which is a mastermind called the Powerhouse. And I'm going to start a new cohort coming up here in the spring, late spring, summer, most likely. And if you're interested in that, in commanding the room, in being with like-minded people who also tend to doubt themselves and are working to move out of that and continue to elevate and advance in their careers, then I encourage you to set up a time to meet with me. This is also a lot of what I do in corporations as well as women's conferences. So if you happen to know anybody, maybe even at your company, that you think would be a good person for me to talk to about bringing this impact to others, I would love to hear from you. I was at, when I'm recording this, it's February 20th. And this week I was in New York speaking for HSMAI, Hotel Sales and Marketing International Association, or Association International. And it's all for professionals in hospitality, particularly hotels. And it was such an amazing time speaking to the board, and then seeing people at this awards banquet was so wonderful, because I had one woman, a number of people came up to me because of my content in the world. And one of them said, "Oh my gosh, because of your content on LinkedIn, it inspired me to take action." And now she has started a women's branch at the company, or a group of women to help support and elevate one another. And this is the thing I'm talking about, folks. We need more of this. This is why I'm on a mission to silence self-doubt in 10 million women in the next 10 years. And the 10 years I started in 2020, and we're close to 5 million reached right now. So by 2030, it's going to culminate on the Chase Center stage in San Francisco. And I cannot wait. I just hired the event planner for that. So it's so exciting. Okay, let's get back to our regularly scheduled program here. So let's talk about number 5. Use language that reinforces self-trust. So your internal, this is obvious. I shouldn't say this is obvious. This is a fact. Your internal and external language shapes your authority, shapes how you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself. So let me give you some examples here, what to notice and then replace. Here's an example. I hope this goes well. Instead, say, "I'm prepared and I know this is going to go well." "I'm not sure, but..." Change that to, "Here's what I recommend. Here's what would be a great next step." And instead of saying, "What do you think I should do?" change that to, "Here are the options I'm considering." Notice how even in my voice, you can tell a difference. This is self-trust. This is that foundational internal structure where you feel so confident, so self-assured that you know in your heart of your hearts that you know what you're talking about and that your opinion matters. Self-trust becomes visible through your words. So remember the power that we have in language. A lot of times people forget that. Also remember the power that we have in how we come across. Facial expressions, hand gestures, posture, making sure that you stand up straight, shoulders back, your hands are separated so you have an open posture. And the more you practice these things, the more you will start trusting yourself. And I do think that a lot of this comes with age as well. But my goodness, I would love people at any age to feel this confident, certainly as I do now compared to how I used to feel. So when self-trust increases, here are, 5 main benefits that I want to highlight. Your pace slows. A lot of times we talk so fast because we're nervous, but when we trust ourselves, our pace slows. We have more of those pauses embedded. Your message also gets clearer because you're not looking for words or pontificating or over communicating. You are simply being clear. Number 3, you stop over explaining. That is such a big one, where there's something I think about human nature where we think we have to prove ourselves. So we keep wanting to share more information. Number 4, you make decisions faster. I've noticed that in myself. And then number 5, others trust you more. This is not something that we talk about very often, but it is so true. When you trust yourself, others trust you. You need to be the leader of how you're coming across. You've got to decide first about trusting yourself as an authority, owning your worth, claiming your authority, claiming your power. All of these things are so important to how the outside world sees you. I remember when I was 18, I what was I at the time? In dance class, Arthur Murray dance classes, ballroom dancing, basically. I remember walking in and somebody thought I was an instructor. And I said, wow, what made you think that? And he said, well, the way you hold yourself, carry yourself. And at a young age, I saw a few examples of that, where it's that whole fake it till you make it. Sometimes I didn't feel confident, but I needed to show up as I did. And I have since learned through my friend, Dr. Andrea Mata, that as she's a clinical psychologist, that there's a lot of research around the fake it till you make it, that we have to take action before we often feel it. If we wait till we feel confident, it's probably not going to happen very easily. So remember that self-trust isn't built through affirmation or mindset alone. It's built through small moments of ownership, speaking when it matters, deciding without overchecking, moving forward without second guessing. And every time you act from self-trust, you reinforce it. And over time, that's what creates the calm, grounded presence of a leader who doesn't need to prove anything because they trust themselves. So I encourage you to trust yourself as well. And if you need support, send me an email, send me a note. I would love to talk about potentially working together. I only work with a handful of leaders now per year, but who knows? You might be the perfect fit and we can talk about that. So again, have that self-trust, practice these things. Oh, let me review these for you. Number 1, make decisions without over collecting opinions. 2, stop replaying conversations after they're over. 3, speak before you feel 100% ready. And 4, separate outcomes from self-worth. And last, 5, use language that reinforces self-trust. The more you do that, the more that muscle will be built and the more confident and trusting in yourself you will be. All right, cheers to your confidence and self-trust. If you loved today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review. It helps other people find the podcast faster, and it certainly helps me. Remember, you too can stand out with unshakable confidence.